Hey everybody, welcome back to Paid to Travel, the UGC podcast. I am actually super excited about today's episode. Erin and I connected recently through kind of a business friend connection, and we thought it would be really cool to do an episode all about mindset, the subconscious mind, trauma, and how that kind of holds us back when we are embarking on something new. So, for example, when you're trying to get into UGC or you're starting a business or something in your life that you are wanting to start, but you're feeling some hesitation or you're running into roadblocks. And we just kind of want to break that down on kind of a mindset and trauma level. Erin, I'm so excited to have you on. So, Erin, when we are talking about subconscious mind and trauma, how do you define trauma?
The way that I define trauma is that anything that happens to you that shifts how you see yourself or how you see the world. So some people will think back like nothing big happened to me. I didn't have any big traumas, but there are always those moments in time where something shifted for them, right? How they understand themselves, how the world looks at them, how they look at the world. And so that is what I would like earmark as a trauma.
Okay. And if someone is trying to maybe figure out like what traumas do I have? Like what were those shifts in my life? I guess do you have any tips or kind of exercises for them to do to be able to kind of unlock that, or would you recommend going and seeing somebody like yourself?
It's hard to know. I think we all have those moments in time that stick with us, right? If you were to say like what was a moment that really affected you, something will pop in and the brain knows. The brain remembers, the body remembers. That's the other thing is that if there's something where you have a big reaction that's like bigger than it should be, my guess is it stems from something. And sometimes we'll remember, sometimes we won't. And so that's where therapy can be really helpful of pinpointing exactly, but sometimes it doesn't really matter. When I'm working with clients, I say they don't want to go into the trauma. I'm like, we don't have to go into the trauma. We just need to go into the reaction to it.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's interesting. And when it comes to trauma in the subconscious mind, do you use the term subconscious mind, unconscious mind? I feel like I hear both used.
I'm not psychodynamic, so it's a very psychodynamic term, but it really is. I say it's like those things that we do and we don't know why we do them, or the things that we do and we know why we do them, but we still can't stop ourselves from doing it. It all comes from the same place,
Yeah.
subconscious, whatever. Yeah,
Okay, I like that description.
yeah.
So, if someone is, let's say they are trying to try something new. So let's say they're currently in a job and they're working a job they don't like. They know that they want to maybe start a business. They have this business idea or something like UGC. They want to try it, but they have this like fear that is holding them back. And obviously that can stem from so many things, right? Um, but I kind of want to talk about this topic of how do we help pinpoint these fears and figure out kind of what is holding us back, and then start to overcome them and take steps to, live in alignment with the life that we do want and that we are seeking. So, what are some common themes that you see that typically tend to hold people back when they are starting something now?
Yeah. I mean, starting with fear, right? Like that's like at the top. And so what we have to understand about fear is that when we're in a state of fear, the part of the brain that can make good decisions, that can be thoughtful, that can empathize, that has like a creative way of thinking of things is actually turned off. So when we're in that state of fear, the first thing that we have to do is calm the nervous system down because it's impossible to make any decisions when we're in that place. So
Right.
that's like first and foremost anytime we're doing something new. And then when it comes to like what are your specific blocks, I ask people to think about what are your values around financial independence? What are your values around success? Like what type of people are successful? What type of people like fail? And we usually have these unconscious biases that block us. And so that's sort of like on the individual level. And then I also ask people, what does your support system feel about financial independence? What does your support system feel about entrepreneurship? Right? A lot of people grow up in families where like 9 to 5 is the only thing that's acceptable. Or what do you mean you're going to do stuff on the internet? Like, and that has a huge effect on us. So I think being able to really identify what are the things that we are holding that aren't ours and being able to put those down and then try to align with what are my values? What do I know that is true? What do I know that is right for me, regardless of what anybody else has already given me?
Mm. No, it's such a good exercise to actually sit down and be like, what are the money stories that I am telling myself based on my upbringing, based on the people around me, based on personal experience? And yeah, I had to sit down and do that like when I was starting my business because I definitely had money blocks and things that I just thought about wealth and holding money that I was just like, I could never actually hold on to money because I was so stressed about having it. And I
Mhm.
thought that like money was going to make everything complicated. And I thought money would make me a selfish person. And like I had these beliefs that I didn't really realize that I had because I'm like, well, of course, everybody wants to be rich. Like, of course, I want money. Like, that's, you know, and, but when I went deeper, I was like, oh, no, like I actually don't. I like on an unconscious level, I don't want that. And
Mhm.
like I'm keeping myself from that because I have these stories that I'm telling myself that I literally didn't realize I was telling myself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our actions follow our thoughts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you mentioned calming on our nervous system in order to get into a state of creativity and creation and just feeling more at ease, what are some tools or tips that you would give people in order to be able to come back to themselves and calm their nervous system?
Yeah. So knowing first that everybody's nervous system is different. So a lot of people will think, well, I should meditate every day, and it actually revs them up and doesn't calm them down. So, first, being able to even notice when your system calms down, right? And the way that we know is that usually our body will go like this, it will be an unconscious release. So, that's a good way to know that your nervous system has reset. So, some of the things that you can do is you could take a deep breath. You can drink a glass of water and feel the water go down your throat. This will automatically reset your nervous system. Um, Pushing on a wall, putting all of your weight into something, tensing your muscles and then releasing, right? These are actual physical things that will calm the nervous system. So that's where I start.
Yeah. So a lot of like body based practices.
All body based.
Yeah.
It's never in the mind. You will never calm the nervous system in the mind.
That's so funny. I feel like I always go to mind. Like I'm always like, okay, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed. I need to write it out. I need to journal. I need to like meditate. And yes, I think those things are great and help, but I think it's so interesting to hear from you just automatically you're like, no, it's body.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the thing is usually when we go do those mental practices, our nervous system is dysregulated. And so now what you've just done is you've connected meditation with a dysregulated nervous system, and those things become paired,
Oh gosh.
right? So it has to be the other way around. It has to go, okay, I have a calm nervous system and I journal. And so those two things get paired.
I like that. Okay, so body based practice first, and then we can move to the mind.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
If you've enjoyed this video and want to continue learning about UGC, hit the follow button so you never miss a new episode. And while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up because the more you let YouTube know that you like my content, the more of my content it will give you. And the more I'll be able to reach new people and help them with their UGC journeys too. Huge, genuine thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
So, one thing that I see pop up a lot on, I don't know, I guess on social media is people talking about this fear of visibility and being seen.
Mm.
And I think that comes into play a lot with the field that I'm in with UGC because a lot of people have this fear of I have to show up on camera. I am going to be in videos that like my friends and family might see. Like this is really scary, and that literally stops a lot of people from even trying because they're just like I have this fear of being seen and being perceived.
Mhm.
I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah. I think it starts with learning how to be uncomfortable. I think we think that we can't do something until we feel really comfortable with it and we have a deep understanding of it of like I don't care what my friends think, right? No, actually you need to get to a place where you're uncomfortable and you can tolerate it. And especially when starting a new business, right? There's going to be a lot of opportunities to be uncomfortable, and if you can't learn to sit with that, you'll stop. You'll quit.
Mm.
And so this is I actually think having to show up and do something uncomfortable on a daily basis, this is gonna make you so resilient.
I could not agree more. It has changed my life genuinely, like, having to show up every day, be on camera, be on social media, like, it is I am a different version of myself than I was before I started doing this because it helped me come out of my shell. Like I'm an introvert, and a lot of people wouldn't really think that because they're like, "Oh, you present so well on camera and you feel like you have this energy about you." And I'm like, "Totally." But like I'm very guarded and
Mhm.
I am like grew up very quiet, and when I kind of came into this career path, I was like, "Well, I have to learn something new and I kind of have to push myself in this way." And the ways that it has actually just trickled into like so many other areas of my life has been really, really cool. But I totally agree. It's like you have to show up kind of unapologetically and get comfortable with that discomfort because no matter what you're doing, UGC, any kind of business, there's never time where you're 100% comfortable. There's nothing uncomfortable going on. Like, if you are a growing human being and you have a growing business, there will always be discomfort because of that growth. And I experience that all the time in my business, and it's so hard. I think just that's a really good point of like, the discomfort never fully goes away. You have to learn how to live with it.
Yeah, and I think, speaking to that, being comfortable, right? When we get really comfortable, this is when we stop checking ourselves. It's when we
Mm.
stop learning. It's when we don't realize we have blind spots. So especially as the therapist, anytime I feel like, oh, I understand what's happening, I know what's going on here, that's when I'm most blind. That's when I'm going to make a mistake. So also being able to have the mindset that if I'm uncomfortable, it means that I'm going to be on the top of my game.
I like that. I'm like trying to think about where I'm currently at in business and with my coaching business. And I definitely went through this with UGC too, but it's like I kind of got to a point of like complacency almost in my coaching business where I was like, okay, I like have this one program that I'm selling and I have my marketing strategy. And it was just kind of like routine and just all here. And I got so, I guess, comfortable and just like I wasn't pushing myself to be like, okay, like, but do you want more? And like,
Mhm.
are there more things you can be doing to help your students and more things you can be creating? And I think I also got to that place with UGC and content creation where I kind of got to like a comfortable level. And then I was like, I could be doing more. Like, and not to say that like more is always the answer or like what we need to be doing, but I think that's kind of an individual choice of like, am I just staying at this level because it's comfortable?
Mhm. Mhm.
Or should I be maybe challenging myself to like get to that next level that I desire? But for whatever reason, like I feel fearful of it, or I'm just really comfy where I am. And like I don't want to lose that comfortability. So we talked about right before we hopped on this, you were like, a lot of what holds people back is comfort. because we live in, our brains are wired for survival, and we want to do what's comfortable and not necessarily what's difficult or what's going to push us into our next level. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. And I think about comfortable, right? Like the brain wants what feels safe.
Yeah.
And the issue is that the brain wants like physical safety. It's not about feeling aligned with who you are or building a life that feels really good to no, no, no. It's like don't die. That's what the brain is like teaching us to do. And so when it comes to comfortability, the brain is going to want what's familiar, even if it's something really bad for us.
Yep.
So if it's staying in a job that you hate, or you don't feel fulfilled in, the brain is going to wire that like you should stay there, right? And so we have to create these new neural pathways in our brain that is like we're doing something different and we're safe. And that's also where the nervous system comes in. So anytime we're doing something new, the way that we tell the brain that we're okay is to bring that calm and safety into the body at the same time.
Yeah, I think there's so much to be said about the fact that our brains are literally wired just for comfort and like to keep us safe. And it's just so interesting when I think about it that way, because that's why so many people are stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it really is why so many people just cannot take that next step, because our brain continuously over and over will just choose what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to choose what we have done, even if it's not what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's crazy, because you would think that's not true. You would think, no, we're going to choose what we want. We're going to, we have the autonomy to choose a better life for ourselves. And while that's true, it actually takes quite a bit of mental like gymnastics almost to convince our body and our brain that no, it's okay, it's safe to take a risk, to try something new, to go after this life that you want. But there are so many risks involved. There's financial risk, and like with financial risk comes so many other risks, physical risks of, right? Food insecurity, housing insecurity. Like there are literal physical insecurities that come with any kind of risk that you're taking like this. And our brains know that.
Yeah.
Like they know that. And I think that's so interesting.
Yeah. So there's this really great trick with this type of thing is because the brain does not know the difference between real or imagined. So that's why when we think about things going wrong, you're going to notice like your heart rate is going to go up. You're going to get really tense, like all of these, because the brain is like, oh my God, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so it's really important. This is why visualization is really important. Visualizing things going well. That is like telling your brain, like, the good things already happened. This is a safe thing we can do. And so visualization is like a really important tool in when we're taking a big new step, but also in nervous system regulation.
Okay, let's say someone's listening to this and they are thinking about starting something new. Let's say they're thinking about trying UGC
Mm-hmm.
and they're feeling just really stuck. What is kind of like a visualization exercise that they could do?
Yeah, there's the one called the miracle question. And so it's asking yourself, imagining that everything has gone exactly as you wanted it to go. You're successful in your business, you're happy, you're feeling aligned. Imagine your day from start to finish, from the moment that you wake up until the moment that you go to sleep. What would be different? How would you wake up differently? How would you make your coffee differently? And some things are not going to change, right? And that's also really great for the brain to know that like not everything's changing. There's still a lot of familiarity here, but it puts us into the mindset of that everything has already worked out, and it goes into the details, so it just becomes even a stronger mind body connection.
Yes, I love that. I do journal prompts like that a lot. And over the past, I don't know, I probably started doing them 2 years ago, and genuinely, like, they are amazing. Like, it just really helps train your brain to see the positive, see the potential and change, and again, just makes you feel like safer in that reality. And I really believe that that helped me because I would journal about, hitting a certain income goal. I would journal about, being in the places that I wanted to be. And so then when I hit those goals actually in real life, it didn't feel as foreign or as scary because I'm like, oh, I've already visualized this. I've already written about this. This feels okay to be my reality instead of, oh my God, I'm here and I haven't like considered what this is actually like. It's like my body kind of is already regulated to acknowledge like that reality.
Yeah, and what I love that you're saying right now is that you intuitively just did this. And that really speaks to that as human beings, we have like this inner healing intelligence. So if you're going through this and you feel called to do a journal prompt or talk to a certain person, like you really need to listen to that, right? You knew exactly what you needed and you probably didn't know why, but that was really important for you.
Yeah. I even like kind of did this in a way yesterday because I, for the past week and a half, I came back from like 3 weeks of traveling. And so I've just been exhausted. I've kind of lost routine. And I just sat there and I wrote down, I was like, okay, if tomorrow I was like getting back to, the routines I want to have and kind of the life I want to be living right now, what does that look like? So I wrote down, I was like, all right, I am going to book a workout class for 8 a.m. I'm going to get up at a good time. I'm going to come back. I'm going to shower. I'm going to eat breakfast. I'm going to hop on this call. And then I'm going to do XYZ. Right. So it's like I literally just mapped out, like, okay, if this was my reality, like, this is what my day looks like if I'm kind of living in alignment with what I want. And so I literally just wrote it down and I have done all of those things today so far.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love it.
It's a good, powerful tool to also just like get back into your body, to remember,
Mhm.
like, okay, if I'm feeling off, usually that's because something in the foundations is off. And that's what I realized. I was like, okay, I have been eating too many sweets. I have too much screen time and my sleep schedule is kind of fucked. And so I was
Mhm.
like, great, I got to like fix those things and then I'm probably going to feel a lot better. So sometimes it's just kind of taking account of what is actually going on in your life physically and how you're taking care of your body. And I think that is a big way also that I kind of regulate my nervous system, is just getting back to the basics.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are there any other kind of things on this conversation that you think we missed that you wanted to touch on?
I think one of the other things that we had talked about was, and this is really important when it comes to brain health, is dopamine, right? And when you're working on in social media, you are going to be getting lots and lots of cheap dopamine. And so in order to be successful here, you also you have to be really aware of this and how it affects you. And so for people who are working in this type of industry, I'm always like, how much natural dopamine are you getting? Right. So, how much sunlight are you getting? How much fresh air are you getting? How much time with friends and family? How much, you know, skin time with your partner? All of these things are really important, especially when you're in an industry that has this really cheap dopamine. And then also being really clear about what is a successful post for you? What is a successful partnership for you? Because you need to know that so that you aren't affected by this sort of cheap dopamine that you're going to be inundated with because of the industry.
I love that. There's so much cheap dopamine out there online.
Yeah. And it affects it like really actually affects the neurochemistry of the brain.
I believe it. Even just like, I mean, yeah, that was one of the things I wrote down yesterday of why I know I'm feeling off right now. I was like, too much screen time. Like,
Mhm.
I know I'm on social media too much, and it's a lot of cheap dopamine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if someone is listening to this and they are kind of ready to take the next step, and maybe want to help regulate their nervous system in the process and kind of get clear on what is holding them back, what are some really basic maybe steps or tips that you can give them if when they, stop listening to this podcast, they get off, what should they do to kind of help align themselves and take these next steps?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is getting into the mindset of, oh my gosh, I am going to learn so much, right? Because there's gonna be a lot of like starting and stopping. There's gonna be a lot of uncertainty. And if you're taking this leap because you're like, I'm ready to be so successful at this, it's gonna get overwhelming. So first and foremost, getting into this place of, oh my goodness, I am gonna learn so much. I'm gonna be really uncomfortable for a while. And I'm ready. I'm ready to do that. And then I would go back through those values, right? Of what is my belief system about this? Why does this feel right for me? And I think connecting to your why anytime you're doing anything is so important. I always say it becomes kind of like if we're going on a magic carpet ride, right? Like our why is the carpet, right? It is the thing that we're going to hold on to every time we kind of go up or we go down or we bump into anything. So I think that's the most important thing. Why am I doing this? Why am I willing to be uncomfortable? Why am I willing to have moments of doubt? And why am I excited for the success that's going to come?
Yeah. Connect with the bigger vision and accept that it's going to be uncomfortable at times.
Absolutely.
I love that. Okay. If people want to find you and connect with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm Healing the Human Experience. And I also have my website, which is just erinvalentitherapy.com.
Amazing. And I will link those below in the show notes for anyone who wants to go check her website out, connect with her on social media. But Erin, thank you so much. This was such a great conversation. I feel like I have these conversations with my friends often who work in the industry just about all of these kind of mind fucks that we experience. So it's awesome to actually speak with a professional on this and someone who like really knows their shit. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And I will see you guys next week on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, guys.
If you want to become a UGC creator and get paid to travel, then my UGC Accelerator is for you. Fast track your UGC career with over 40 video trainings, live weekly Q&A calls, and direct access to me as your UGC coach. You'll get personalized feedback, accountability, and a proven 3-month roadmap to start getting paid UGC deals. Plus, an active community of over 100 other creators also on their UGC journeys. Some students have earned over $2,000 in UGC deals within weeks. And I have students like Lene, who quit her nannying job just 4 months after starting the program because of UGC. Or Katie, who's made over $12,000 in her first few months of pitching. Plus, there's a no-brainer guarantee. If you don't make back your investment in the program, I'll give you a full refund. So if you're ready to take UGC seriously, click the link in the description to learn more.